under par. Tommy Fleetwood 1 stroke back at 13 under. Dustin Johnson 2 strokes back at 12 under. Get all of your scores on the NBC Sports Scores app. I'm Scott Seidenberg, NBC Sports Radio.
Welcome to the Thom Hartmann Program. I'm live right here, Monday through Friday.
Are you ready for the #1 progressive talk show host in America?
71% of people say that the information they get from their friends and family, they take more seriously than the stuff they read in the media. Only 42% of Americans think the media is the most credible source of news. And therefore, if you're informed, if you're awake, you need to be telling your friends. You need to be talking to your friends and family.
24-time New York Times best-selling author and has nearly 6.5 million listeners nationwide.
These are crimes. These are international crimes against humanity. And I would love to see somebody held to account in this administration.
Introducing Thom Hartmann on KCAA Radio, weekday afternoons starting at 2.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is serving up some really cool ice cream at La Micho Acana. Then get your chocolates and other delights from See's Candies. Moms and future moms who visit the mall can cool off and relax while they get treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers who care about you. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the Mall with a Heart.
There is an outrage at Columbia University over the pay-to-play college scam involving dozens of parents and several prestigious universities.
Of course, these students love attending Columbia, but they're proud of the way they got in.
I would not feel good about myself, and like I had not earned my seat at the table at my university.
Columbia wasn't on the list of schools involved in the scandal, but their Ivy League counterpart Yale was, as well as other top schools. Erin says many of her friends got into schools with large donations, but nothing like what's been reported.
The prosecutor said it best when he said that, we don't have two different justice systems.
Rob Dawson, NBC News Radio, New York.
Kim Kardashian West has taken away worry for a man who was just released from prison. Matthew Charles served 20 years of a 35-year sentence for a nonviolent drug and weapons conviction. According to TMZ, the reality TV star privately reached out to Charles this past Sunday and offered to help him find a stable place to live and pay his rent. The Nashville man was released under new prison reform laws, but has not been able to rent a place to live because of his background. Andrew Caravella, NBC Radio News.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Great to have you here with us today on another episode of our show here where we teach nothing but the truth about you, the listener. That's what this show is all about. And I want to thank all of you for being with us today, especially all you new listeners out there. We have some really good things for you so you can understand and know yourself and be able to transform things in your life so you can begin to experience a beautiful life that is available to everyone. That's what this show is all about, and we are going to have a great message for you. Now, before we get started, of course, I want to give thanks to all those that make this show possible. First of all, the listeners. And I want to thank our engineer, Rick. Thank you very much, Rick, for doing a great job. And my webmaster, Mr. Joel Strouser, takes care of the website, does a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Joel. And my co-host and producer, which is right now touring the country with his band. So, Michael, I know you're having a great time, and we miss you. You've been gone for a few weeks now, but I know you're having a great time, and good things are happening for you. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. But with my co-host that we have now is Mr. Bill McLeod, a very, very talented man, many talents. And he will be with us right after the break. He's been with me for a couple of weeks now, taking Michael's place. So, anyways, got a good show for you. Again, before we get started, I have something that I believe is very important for you. Are you having problems with your automobile or your truck? Are you tired of looking for a mechanic you can trust? One that offers a reasonable rate? One that won't gouge you? Well, if you are, we have a honest and friendly service. If that's what you're looking for some honest, friendly service, we want you to visit our friends at Standard Radiator in Corona. I'm going to repeat that, Standard Radiator in Corona. Just ask for Mike Serrato. You won't be disappointed. Okay, and I'll give you his number. His number is 951-272-6066. I'll repeat that, 951-272-6066. Okay, let's get going here now. First of all, I want to let you know what we teach here. What we talk about here is human nature, which is in reality is knowing thyself, knowing who you truly are. And when you begin to understand who you truly are, you will begin to see that whatever it is that you're struggling with in life, whatever things make life difficult for you, it's just a matter of thought. It's your thought process. It's just a matter of understanding how your mind works and beginning to take control of what you think about. And once you do that, you will be able to create a great experience for yourself. Now, human nature, the most important thing that you can know. We really do believe that. So the topic today is remove your emotional baggage. Okay, to remove your emotional baggage. Now, what are we talking about? Is if you worry, if you anxious, if you have anxiety, even despair, fear of the future, stress, if you have any of those things going on in your life, there's the most important thing that you can begin to do is to understand why those things are happening to you. Why are you worrying? Why are you anxious? Why do you have stress in your life? Well, actually, there's a very simple way to remove all those things. And, I hate to say, but it's not easy, but it is simple. Okay, and that's what we're going to get to today. Removing your emotional baggage, one thing to understand about it, your emotional baggage, you developed it from your past. Okay, think about it. Whatever's going on right now in your life, it was developed from your past. It cannot be anything that is from your future because you haven't experienced that yet. So whatever you're struggling with in life right now is developed from your past. Okay, so I'm asking you, how long are you going to let it interfere with your present, with your future? How long are you going to go letting it interfere with your future? I mean, that's not a very good thing, because if you're struggling and stressed right now, if you don't understand why and you don't learn why that's happening, you are going to continue on in the same way. Nothing will change. I mean, the different types of problems that you're going to run into are going to change, but basically they will be the same type of problem. So now what we want to do, you don't want to be dragging that around, your emotional baggage. You don't want to keep dragging it around with you. You want to get rid of it. And like I say, it's a matter of understanding what is going on. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to explain that, why that happens, and how to get rid of it. how to change everything in your life, how to begin to experience the things that you want to experience. Now, in other words, we want you to learn to let go and learn to live. Because I don't believe that you're really living. If you're struggling in life, if you have a lot of stress and worry, I don't believe that is really life. That's not living. That's just existing. That's existing, and life can be so much better, so much better. It's when your mind begins to clear up and you don't have all of these issues going on in your life, you begin to see a clearer path. You begin to see a way out. You begin to see the light. You begin to see, it's like looking through a tunnel and seeing the light over there way down at the end of the tunnel. And now you know where you have to go. You got to go right through that tunnel and begin to walk into the light. That's what we're talking about here. One thing to understand first, and I want you to notice this. I want you to notice this. If it's not about you, I want you to notice this about others. I ask, what are you talking about? Or what do you hear others talking about? Now, if you're constantly talking about all the problems that you're having in your life, whether they're physical, whether they're relationships, if you're constantly talking about those types of problems, that is what you are creating. You will continue to create the same types of problems if that's what you talk about, because in reality, that is what you're focused on. You're focused on the negative things in your life. You're focused on all the things that you don't really want in your life. So think about it. If you don't want those things in your life, shouldn't you at least begin to think, maybe I need to stop talking about them? I need to start talking negative things about myself, even thinking those types of things about yourself. Now, if you're living with sorrows, regrets, anxiety, stress, limitations, where it's all stored up, everybody has a personal storehouse. And I mean a personal storehouse. Everything that has ever happened to you in the past, everything, and I'm talking about since you were a child, everything that has ever happened to you, all the things that you have ever heard people say, all the news that you have watched, all the problems that you have them stored in your storehouse. And what I mean by your storehouse is your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful thing that exists in this universe. And you personally have a great power with your subconscious mind. It's in there. It's a storehouse. Now, it is a great power. It is your the part that creates everything that you are experiencing right now, because it is stored in there. Everything that has ever happened to you, if all the negative things and all the good things, they're there. They're stored there. But I can tell you one thing, to understand your subconscious mind, it is neutral. What I mean by neutral, that it will accept whatever is going into it. It will accept it. It will take in whatever is going into it, and you can pick and choose what you choose to put into it. That's why I say it is a marvelous great power that you have with you. Now, you have many things that are stored in there. Okay, many negative things, as I said before. And since there is so much of that stored in there from the past, what happens is that it keeps popping up. It keeps popping up in your thoughts, and you continue to think about them, and then it gets even worse when you sit around and talk about those types of things that have gone on in your past. And what I mean by your past, it could be something that happened yesterday, the day before, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, a year ago, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter. It will continue to pop up sometime in your life, and the more you talk about it, the more it will pop out at you. And as it's coming at you and you're thinking about them, what is happening in that the subconscious is the creative part of your mind. You will continue to create more of the same types of problems, the same types of issues that make your life difficult, that make things, that cause all your stress, cause your worry, your anxiety. That's the way it works. So it's like a vicious cycle that it's hard to escape. But as I said, the subconscious is neutral. It will accept whatever you choose to put into it. You know, the easiest way maybe to think about it is like a computer. That's we can think about the subconscious mind like a computer. Think about your computer. Whatever programs that you put into your computer, whatever you buy a new computer, and whatever you begin to program into it, what is the only thing that will come out of that computer? Will it be the only thing that we can come out of that computer is what you have put into it? Isn't that the way your computer works? It's not going to give you something that's not there. It's only going to give you whatever types of program you have into it. That's what you're going to get out of it. Okay? And that's all it can do. Now it's up to you. You can put in whatever programs you want, right? But the point is this: whatever is in that computer, it will continue to come back out at you. Okay? So what has to happen with a computer? If there's something different that you want to come out of it, do you not have to reprogram the computer? Do you not have to put different things into it so you can bring different things out of it? That's the way the subconscious mind works. So if you're constantly putting the worries, the problems, the stress, if you continue to put those types of things into it, the computer or your subconscious will continue to produce more of the same, because that's all it can do. And it's not neutral. It won't reject what you put into it, just like a computer is neutral. It's not gonna reject what you choose to put into your computer. The computer won't do it. It won't reject it. It's neutral. You can do whatever you want. You can put whatever types of programs you want into it. That's the way the subconscious mind works. Okay? So you must learn to reprogram your computer. Let's call it your computer now. Maybe you can understand it a little bit better, the subconscious. Let's just call it your computer. Reprogram it. How? Begin to speak different things. If you've been used to talking about yourself, that with all your problems, telling everybody around you about all your problems, you will continue. And not only will you continue, but the more you do it, the more things will get worse. And I'm talking about all things. Problems, issues, more problems and more issues are going to pop up in your mind. Even physical things. The more you talk about physical problems, the more physical things that will come back at you. I mean, this may seem a little hard to believe, but it's true. It is the truth about yourself. Now, I'll give you another example that's a whole lot like the subconscious mind. Something that really is kind of works the same way. And this one, you may have kind of heard this before. But let's talk about the soil. Okay, the soil. Think about a field, all right? Just imagine a field that is full of weeds. I mean, we've all seen them. You've seen a field. You just go in your mind and imagine it right now. There's a field out there just full of weeds. Now, if let's say you own that field and you want to change it, you don't want it the same way. You don't want it to be full of weeds. You want to have a nice field. What do you have to do? Do you not have to begin to remove some of those weeds and then begin to plant what you want? And just like I said about a computer and the subconscious mind, it's neutral. That field is not going to reject what you choose to plant into it. It's neutral. It is going to grow whatever you plant into it. It will not reject you. It will not reject you. It will not tell you no. Oh, no, you can't plant that. Oh, no, you can't have that. No, it's not going to do that. So what we want to do is clear out the weeds and start planting what we want. Now, I can say maybe the only difference is with the subconscious mind and the soil. I could say maybe the only difference is in your. I really do not believe that you have to clear out the weeds in your mind. In other words, the negative. I really don't believe that you have to clear them out. Some people might say that you do, but I think about it this way. If I start planting in the mind, this is the way the mind works. More, I believe, different than the soil. If you start planting, in other words, ideas, thoughts, good thoughts, you start replacing the good thoughts from the old thoughts. What you are doing in reality, you are now planting the good. And what happens eventually to the negative things, the weeds, in other words, you're not watering them anymore. You're not giving them attention anymore. And what will happen to any plant when you stop giving it any attention and watering it? It will start to die out. I'm talking about in your mind. When you start planting good ideas in your mind, you are reprogramming. You are putting new things into that power source that you have, which is your subconscious. And in time, this is not magic, but in time you will begin to experience the types of things that you are planting now. You don't have to worry about the old concepts. They will begin to die out. The mind will begin to change its direction and go in the direction now that you're leading it. You're taking it in a better direction and much better things. You're thinking much better. In other words, you're planting what you want. Now, I know you've heard this concept before, but there's so many people that know this already and heard this concept before, but they have never really taken it seriously. What I'm telling you is you need to take it seriously. And think about this. You reap as you sow. I mean, very simple. A very simple sentence. But it is so powerful because it's referring to the subconscious mind. You reap as you sow. Which means, in a simple way, think nothing but the good. I mean, I don't know how much simpler this can be. Is it easy though? No. Why is it not easy? Because the mind has been used to having 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years of thinking negative. Thinking of problems. Thinking of limitations. Thinking of the issues in life that aren't good for you. The mind's been used to it for so long. It's a habit. So many people have developed the habit of thinking that because it's just there. Just letting your mind run and run and run. So what has to happen is you got to take control daily, every day. Get up and speak some good into your life. That's why I said very simple concept. But is it easy? No, because we tend to do it and we don't see anything happening right away. So we think it's not working. Well, it's not any different than the soil. You stick a seed in the ground, water it, all you see is mud for days and days. Okay, I don't know, depending on what type of seed, how long you're going to see something. Okay? But I'm talking about this works the same way. As long as you continue to water that seed, take care of it, and it eventually, something's going to pop up out of the ground. You're going to see it. Is it going to be huge? No. It's going to be very small. So when you begin to do this, you're only going to see little slight changes in the way you feel, but you will begin to feel a little bit better. And it won't take too long where you kind of start removing your stress. As long as you're not going back to that type of thinking again, and stick to it. Be faithful every day. Speak good into your life. Life is great. Life is beautiful. This is a wonderful day. This is a beautiful day. Continue to do that. And the more you do it, the sooner you are going to begin to see it. The sooner you will begin to experience it. Now, what were we talking about today? Is removing the baggage. Removing the baggage from our lives. So, now, that's how you remove the baggage, the emotional baggage that you have in your life, by replacing it with the good thoughts, powerful thoughts. Nothing but the good, nothing but power. And your mind is going to open up to new concepts, new ideas you had never thought of in all your life. Because you are entering into a place in your mind where all creativity exists, where all things in life, all the ideas that you want to make your life better, that's where they are, in the creative part of your mind. Do it. Try it. Don't go away. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a short break, and I just want to remind you, listening to KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM, and we'll be back with our special co-host today, Mr. Bill McLeod. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you with us here today on the Truth Only Show, where we present you nothing but the truth about yourself here at 1050 AM, 102.5 FM, and 106.5 FM on the Truth Only Show. And for those of you that joined us late, I just want to remind you that we have our special co-host today, Mr. Bill McLeod, a man of many, many talents. He's also has a program, and we'll give you his information a little later on. But he has done many different, he's been a cameraman for some of the big shows on TV for many years. He's a co-host on his own radio show. I mean, he's a host of his own radio show and a motivational speaker, teaches seniors. Right. Bill, thank you very much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
Great to have you.
Yeah. Am I on?
No. Right.
There you go.
Oh, I'm on
all
now.
Right.
I can hear you. Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm glad to be here, and thank you. I always enjoy coming to do the show. I think it's a wonderful thing you're doing. I was just listening, and I don't know if I'm getting off the subject here, to someone who was teaching what you're teaching.
Yeah.
And they wanted $2,000 for the course.
$2,000?
$2,000. And I say, well, hey, we can get it right here. You're giving it free, which is really wonderful, what you're doing. Because most of the people who really need to hear this, I don't know if they have $2,000 to spend to learn about it.
Yeah. Well, so, that's why we decided to do the show. Michael and I, we decided to do the show, and I mean, give some people a place to go to where they can improve their lives, make their lives better without having to spend a whole lot of money.
Really, and Michael do a wonderful job. I can't really fill his shoes. He does a great job. He do, and I enjoy when he's here. He really pushes you, and he really gives you the question that a lot of people out may listen to the show may wonder too. And I really wanted to make sure that Michael hurry back.
Yeah. Well,
he does a great job, right?
Yeah. Well, Michael pushes me to make sure that what I'm giving out is what people can really use, the truth about themselves, and he pushes me. He don't let me get away with anything.
Right.
That's what's great about it.
Good. So, right.
But we want to hear from you now, Bill.
Yeah.
What do you got? Any questions? You got any comments? You got anything that you want to share with the listeners out there?
Yeah, I thought when you were talking about emotions, I thought about anger. And a lot of people get angry. Mm-hmm. And anger seems to push them into doing things that really don't make any sense. Although I understand the scientific approach about anger. Anger is when all the blood leaves your brain and the air goes into it. That's why they call people airheads, right? Right? Because when you're angry, you are an airhead. You do something stupid or something silly, or maybe even something violent. People do violent things, and that is an emotion. When you were talking about remove your emotions, and I thought about that's one emotion that we should talk about. So I was wondering if you could elaborate on that, how these people who feel that they're so angry they don't know what to do. Yeah. They're just out of their mind in a certain way, because that's what that emotion is about, is to take you away from being able to think, being able to carry yourself in the way that you need to carry and conduct yourself. So I just wondering if you could speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, all these things, like anger, for example, that you're talking about, what anger does really, what you're really doing, if you're a person that does get angry, what you need to think about is this: the person you are hurting the most all the time, the person that you are hurting the most is yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. So we need people that get angry need to start think about it a little bit more, and begin to try to take control of that anger, because as I say, most things that we have that are negative, we're hurting ourselves. Mm-hmm. If you hate or if you're angry, and if you're all of that hate, you're the one that's being hurt the most. Mm-hmm. You're hurting yourself. You're making your own life more difficult. And if you think that you're making life better, no, there's no way. You're not making anything better. Nothing. Right. Mm-hmm. So
there's one other question I wanted to ask you, but I thought the question might I don't know. I see people who are sickly,
Yeah.
people who are unhealthy,
Yeah.
got different problems. And I'm 88 years old, so people will see me and say, "Oh, how can you be doing what you're doing? You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be doing that." And I am. But I see people who do that, and I always wonder what happened to them. And I, the ones I've known, they've always had some kind of negative emotion that they carried around with them all the time.
Do they talk about it a lot, Bill?
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah,
they think about it a lot.
I think they think about it a lot, and I think they put it on everybody's mind that I'm this way and I don't care what you say. I'm never going to give up my anger. I'm never going to give up my whatever it is, the feeling that they have. But I know at the same time that it affects them. It shows in them.
Sure.
It shows in their health. Sure. It shows in the way they carry themselves. And it shows in their face a lot of times, because the people who are not like that, you can tell right away you're drawn to them.
Yeah.
And those others that are rejected.
Yeah. No, it's true. All of these emotions, all this baggage that we talk about here, that we were talking about today, it'll all show up. It will show up in your life. It's going to show up whether with continued problems. Mm-hmm. It will show up. Or it will show up physically in your body. I mean, even a lot of the science people that are studying the brain now, scientists, they're even claiming now that things like if you were humiliated a lot when you were a child, that causes arthritis, for example. Mm-hmm. So they're beginning to understand a lot more of the brain. There's some certain parts of the brain that it makes you sick when you have these types of thoughts, and they're starting to make the connection. But what we're telling you here on this show, I think we're way ahead of them already. But I mean, it's great that they understand the brain also. Right. I mean, I know it's a good thing. But your thoughts are very powerful. Your thoughts will continue to create your experience.
Right. And that's another thing that you're talking about. Our thoughts create our experience. And I've seen some people have an experience. They say, "You think I thought this? I didn't think this." Mm-hmm. But they did.
Well, they might have not thought it directly, but the types of thoughts that you think, negative thoughts, will come out at you in many different forms. And you won't even be able to make the connection, but they're going to continue to come at you. Those types of thoughts will create those types of things. Mm-hmm. And you can't really say you can't really say, "Well, this is because I thought this." No, it's too complex. Mm-hmm. But you will draw the same types of negative things to your life if you keep thinking them.
Mm-hmm. I know when I remember the first thing that I learned, and that was that God put me here on the earth, and that I was full of all kind of sin. I was full of sin, and that I wasn't worth anything. And I was put here to suffer, in other words. So sort of something like that, know. The same way that Jesus Christ suffered, I was supposed to suffer and feel good that I'm suffering something like that. And I know a lot of people feel a lot of that. And I was just wondering, could you give us a little direction on that? Because I know that it's wasn't the right thing for me to learn.
Yep.
But I think that's one of the things that makes a lot of emotion in us, because of that. We think that we're not worthy of something, or we think that we don't account, or we think we put ourselves down a certain way.
Yeah, well, what I think about that is all of us, what you're talking about here, I believe that all of us have to hit our rock bottom. In other words, that's how we're going to go. You can either go, and what I mean by rock bottom, I hit my rock bottom, maybe 15 years ago or so, or 20 years ago. I hit my rock bottom where it was the most difficult. I was going through the most difficult things in all my life, and I was just tired of it. Mm-hmm. So I was struggling financially with relationships. Everything was very difficult. I had never been through anything that was so difficult for me, and I didn't have a way out. So I began to learn these principles. So in other words, I hit my rock bottom there. Somebody else may hit their rock bottom at a lower place. I mean, some people turn to drugs and end up in the streets or to alcohol. So everybody will. You're either going to keep going down more if you continue the same way, or when you turn and begin to learn the truth about yourself, you're going to go in the other direction, go up. So I think we all have to maybe learn the hard way. I don't know, because I think maybe if you you can teach somebody when they're very young, teach them these principles, they might not even have to go through that.
Right.
You know, that's the thing is, but where do you go learn these principles? Very, very few places to learn this.
Right, yeah. That was my next thought, is that and when we go through all these different things, and we were confused and told a lot of different things by our parents because they didn't know, and a lot of other people didn't know either what to tell us. We have to reach a point where we really need to reinvent ourselves.
Yeah.
Now,
reprogram what we were talking about. Reprogram your computer.
Right.
That's what you're
saying.
saying.
You were talking about. Yeah, we got to reprogram that computer.
Right.
Because what we're getting out now is not what we want.
No, because that's what came from the past, what we allowed to go into it. You might not even been conscious of what was going in, but that you allowed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I think about when I think about the Truth Only show. I think about all the wrong things we were told, and now we have to clean that out and start to reinvent ourselves and hear the right things.
Right.
And sometimes that's very difficult. But like you say, there's not too many places that people can go to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not everywhere.
It's not everywhere.
No,
yeah.
it's not everywhere because, too many of us were programmed by our traditions that we belong to, our churches or whatever we belong to. But you know what? Most people, I went through this, but most people never really think about who they're believing and what they're believing. If your life isn't working, if you have the worry, the stress, the anxieties that we're talking about here, if you're carrying around that baggage with you, but you continue on in whatever traditions that you grew up with, I think it should be time you start considering what it is you're believing and who are you believing.
Right.
If your life isn't getting better, something's not right. You need to question it.
Right.
You need to question where you are. Right. Where did you get your beliefs from?
Right. And I would like to leave this with the people. I wanted to say, I'm not sure. There's a little small book. I think it may be 40 pages, and it's called As a Man Thinketh, So Is He.
Exactly.
I used to carry this little book with me every day, everywhere I went, and I read it every day.
Yeah, right.
And it is a book that will really help you out. For people who, if you're not listening to this show, you may be wondering, what do I do to get to learn more about what we're talking about? And that's what the advice I would like people to realize.
No.
A small book, you can get it anywhere.
Yeah. So, think about this for you listeners. He just said it's a powerful book. I know because I know the book. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Right.
Think about that. You've heard this before. How many of you have heard this before? Now, what we just talked about here on the show, what I was talking about, wasn't it what you think about, and isn't that exactly what you're experiencing?
Right.
So going back again, we just explained the same thing in a different way, saying that it's like a computer. What you program into it is all you're going to get out of it, which is saying the same thing. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I mean, this is a very simple principle. I know it's not easy to change the way you think, but you can do it.
Right.
If it wasn't been possible, we wouldn't have this show.
Right.
If it was impossible, we would never started this show. But it's not impossible. You can do it, and you can begin to experience all the good that you want to experience. That's it. That book is powerful.
Right. Yeah. So, I just thought there was something, like you said, there's not a lot of information around to really help you or to really help people. But I thought that was one book to offer.
Yeah. There are some powerful.
There's some other books too.
Yeah. There's one book that people ask me, what do you think I should read? Well, I'll give you one simple one. It's a very powerful book. It was powerful in my life. It's called The Power of Decision. It's the name of the book. The title is The Power of Decision, and it's written by Raymond Charles Barker.
Yeah, Barker,
okay,
I remember him.
That is such a simple, but it is so simple, but it is the most powerful book that you can learn about yourself, and he'll make you realize what you're doing is bad thinking. Your thinking's not right, that's all. And he just shows you how to straighten it out and shows you how to change and transform your life. Right. Shall we take a little short break now, Bill? We'll be right back. Okay. And I just want to remind you, I have our host with us today, Mr. Bill McLeod, and you're listening to KCA 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM here on the Truth Only Show. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
In a world few hearts survive.
All I know is the way I feel. When it's real, I keep it alive. The road is long. There are mountains in our way, but we climb a stair every day. The lift is up where we belong, where the eagles cry on the mountain high. The lift is up where we belong, far from the world below, up where the clear winds blow. Some hang on to used to be, live their lives looking behind.
All our lives are there to find.
The road is long. There are mountains in our way, but we climb a step every day. Love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love lifts us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow. Time goes by, no time to cry. Life's you and I alive. Baby, love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love lifts us up where we belong, up from the wild we know, where the clear winds blow. Love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high.
Welcome back. Great to have you here with us today on our Truth Only Show, where we're talking about removing the baggage in our minds. And I just want to remind you that for those of you that joined us late, with my co-host today, Mr. Bill McLeod.
Yep.
And we're having a great time here, Bill. It's great to have you with us. I mean, you got some good information for us.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one more question.
Oh, okay.
All right, and that is about, and you were saying that about thinking and how it works with our mind and everything. And I was just wondering, I've heard this before, are thoughts things?
Thoughts are things?
Right.
Oh, yes, very true. Thoughts are things. I know I had a hard time really understanding what that really meant.
Right.
But, I mean, it's very simple. Let's everybody take a moment and think about your own personal life. Now, look at it this way. All the decisions that you made in your life, whether you allowed somebody to influence your decisions or whatever, but all the decisions that you made in your life are responsible for where you are living and how you are living now. Let's look at it this way. Let's say you chose not to go to school, not to go to college, not to go, or you chose not to start a business. You chose to just take any job that you got. Okay. Well, let's just say, for example, that you are struggling right now financially. I'm just giving you I'm not talking about whether that's good or bad. Forget that. I just want you to understand this point. If you're struggling a little bit financially, the things that you have in your life match your financial situation, okay? And they were your thoughts that created your situation where you are now. And it's not just your financial, but it's many things. Who you marry, who chose to marry or not marry, whatever. But let's say you chose to go to school. Let's say you chose to become a brain surgeon, a doctor, or a heart specialist, or whatever. Let's say you made those choices and you followed through with your choices. And now you are living your life, the life that matches your financial situation. Maybe now you have the big cars, the big beautiful cars, the big home. You have all of those types of things. The point is this, and I'm not talking about whether one is good or one is bad or one is that. That's another topic. But the point is right now, thoughts are things. The things that you have in your life, you brought them on. Whether you like them or you don't. And I'm not saying that you have to be a rich man or anything. No, I'm just making the point that thoughts create the things in your life at whatever level you think. If you think limited, you will live a limited life. If you expand your mind and think that everything is possible, things are great, you will follow in that direction, and you will experience the types of things that you think about. And I'm talking about physical things. I mean, whatever clothes you're wearing, you chose them.
Right.
Their thoughts are things. It's that simple.
So now I cannot go out anymore and start blaming everybody else for whatever condition I'm in.
Right, because you know what? The most important thing that listeners can learn on the show is that we are free. You were born free. And what I mean by free is that you are free to choose to go in whatever direction you want to, and you're the only one that is responsible for the direction that you're going to go. And there is no one that can stop you, only if you allow them to stop you. But no, there's nobody there stopping you. The government doesn't stop you from getting a book and reading and learning more. There's nobody that can stop you.
Right.
It's all up to you. There's no magic. It's just up to you. Just do it. You are free. All humans are free. In that sense, that's what I'm talking about. We are free to pick and choose the life that we want.
Right.
And then go for it.
Right. That's wonderful. Yeah.
That's it.
And you need these principles, really, to learn these principles. And if you're misunderstanding them, every Sunday, you're here to give people enlightenment and to help them. So I think everybody should spread the word around, because I'm sure they'd be glad to find out that they're in charge of their own life.
Yeah.
And it's by their thinking.
Right.
And so not somebody else. So they can't go around and blame someone else for their failures.
Right.
You know, they always holler about their own success. So I'm sure they got to claim their own failures as well.
Right. We just have to accept that, hey, I chose, those are the decisions that I made. So I'm right now experiencing what I brought on myself.
Right.
But once you know that, now you know that, hey, you know what? I can get up and do whatever I want. I can begin to learn whatever I want. There is nothing stopping. There isn't anybody stopping you.
Right.
You can go and learn and study all you want and become whatever you want to become.
Right.
That's all there is to it. Right. You can go practice. If you're a young person, you want to practice a sport, you want to become great at a sport, get out there and do what somebody else isn't willing to do. I mean, you're free to do that. If you are free, that's all of us are free.
Right.
So when we're crying and complaining about the way things are in life, you need to complain to yourself,
right?
Because you brought it on,
right? Yeah.
You know. So
and they do have an opportunity to reinvent themselves and to make it better.
Right. Reprogram. That's what we've been talking about. Yeah, and speaking, begin to speak every day, all the time. Stop speaking the negative about yourself. Begin to speak nothing but the good. And it matters not whether you believe this or not. It's all up to you. It doesn't matter if you believe it or don't want to believe it. But and you cannot say that it is not true. You know, if you have never tried this,
it's worth a try.
You cannot say it. You cannot say it. And I'm talking about faithfully did this. I mean, you faithfully spoke nothing but the good. Erased all the negative from your mind and spoke nothing but the good, that this is a great day, beautiful day. Great things are happening right now, and I know my future is beautiful. Continue that on all day. Anytime that you can think about it, think it, and remove the negative. Until you have done that, you cannot say that this is not true. You cannot say that this does not work. Don't even say it. Don't even think it. So, okay, well, thank you very much, Bill. Can you give people some information they can get a hold of you?
I'm at Grandpa Speaks, GrandpaSpeaks77.com. You can go there and I'll do a radio show, and also that's my website.
All right. So do that. Check it out. And I just want to remind you, you're listening to the David Paul Band, one of his originals. Go to davidpaulmusic.com. Check out his calendar for a fantastic night of entertainment. And also go to the Bell City Players and check out their calendar, again, for a fantastic night of entertainment. And thank you for being with us, and we will see you again next week.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Well, Tennessee could kiss a 1 seed goodbye. It's Selection Sunday.